Hi everybody. For my Forum 4, I chose the Vodcast topic of alcohol and drug use in adolescence. This is a topic that touches families, schools, communities, and especially those of us entering the healthcare field. It's something that we can't ignore, and today we'll explore what makes it such a complicated ethical issue, how different perspectives shape our decisions, and what it means for us as nurses. So let's start by defining the issue clearly. Adolescents are generally defined as individuals between ages 10 and 19, and they're in a crucial stage of brain, emotional, and identity development. During this time, many are exposed to alcohol, nicotine, cannabis, or even more dangerous substances like opioids or synthetic drugs. Some try these substances out of curiosity, some out of peer pressure, or some as a way to cope with mental health struggles or trauma. The ethical issue here is multi-layered. On one hand, teens have the right to autonomy and confidential health care, especially when they seek help voluntarily, and on the other, their choices can put them at serious risk of harm, addiction, overdose, injury, or long-term developmental issues. As healthcare professionals, particularly nurses, we may have to decide, when do we respect a teen's privacy? When do we involve parents or other authorities? Are we doing more harm by staying silent or by speaking up? Balancing these decisions is what makes this such a pressing ethical topic. Next, I'm going to talk about opposing ethical viewpoints. The first one I'm going to talk about is the deontological perspective. This is a way of thinking that doesn't ask what will happen if I do this, but rather, is this the right thing to do based on universal moral laws? From this lens, a nurse might say, I have a duty to protect life and tell the truth. If a teenager is using dangerous substances, I am morally obligated to inform someone who can intervene, like their parents or a school counselor, even if the teen gets upset or loses trust in me. I've fulfilled my duty. This perspective prioritizes honesty, protection, and moral responsibility, even if the outcome isn't ideal in the short term. And then on the other hand, we have the utilitarian perspective, and it's about maximizing positive outcomes for the most people. From this viewpoint, a nurse might argue, if I break a teen's confidentiality, they may shut down, avoid healthcare altogether, or continue using in secret. But if I protect their privacy, they're more likely to open up, seek treatment, and trust healthcare providers. That leads to better long-term outcomes for them, and less harm overall. So in this case, the nurse chooses confidentiality because it results in the greatest good, stronger trust, earlier intervention, and potentially life-saving conversations. Both perspectives have strong ethical grounding, just from different viewpoints, and as nurses, we must decide which one is the right one to do. So a real-world example that I connected this to, I looked around on the internet and found a story from 2022 that happened in Colorado. A 16-year-old student overdosed on fentanyl-laced pills that he bought through Snapchat, and it came out later that the school district was aware of a growing issue with drug use, but hadn't taken strong action or warned parents about what was happening. This case raised some powerful ethical questions. Should the school have informed families even at the cost of student privacy? Were healthcare workers at the school ethically responsible to act sooner? Could lives have been saved if there was more transparency and prevention? This is just one of many examples where inaction or unclear policies around adolescent substance use can have heartbreaking consequences. So this relates to us as nurses because we are on the front lines of care. We're the ones that teens may confide in at school, in the ER, at clinics, or wherever we end up working. What we say or don't say can make a massive difference. We have to assess risk accurately, We need to navigate confidentiality while still meeting our legal and ethical obligations. We need to communicate with empathy and build trust. And we need to advocate for harm reduction and early intervention programs in our communities. This issue also forces us to constantly apply the core principles of nursing ethics: autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. The better we understand these dilemmas now, the more prepared we'll be when we face them in real life. Adolescent substance use is a challenging and often personal issue, but it's one that calls us as future nurses to lead with wisdom, ethical clarity, and above all, compassion. Let's keep asking hard questions and learning to care for some of the most vulnerable members of our communities.